Kyle here from All Media Reviews, here to do a review of a concert I went to last Friday. I saw for the second time in a little over a year, British band Squid, supporting this album, Cowards, their third proper full length, which came out a couple months ago. And Joe the vinyl, I got the vinyl at the show. They're at the Turf Club in St. Paul. Um, and I did a review of their show last year when they played at the Fine Line. So here it is. I mean, I haven't done any type of official, like, even like a quarter list or whatever, but to be honest, I mean, it's one of, if not my favorite record so far of 2025. There's kind of an asterisk by that to some degree, but I'm also kind of leaning somewhat toward this being my favorite Squid album. So this was definitely a tour. When this album I enjoyed it. I enjoy it more than Oh Monolith. While I do enjoy a lot of Oh Monolith, it's a little uneven though, compared to Bright Green Field, the debut album. When this album kind of hit me like how much I enjoyed it, it was kind of like if they're coming here after the last show, couple last year, that was so good. It would have been I would have regretted not going, especially at the Turf Club. I mean, if it was like they're opening for someone really big for a lot more money, maybe not, but no, so I definitely wanted to see this show, and I can go into more details about the show. I at the show back in last year in 2024 at the Fine Line, I told the story on that video last year. How I didn't I got a photo of it, but I didn't manage to actually get. It's interesting here. I didn't manage to get a set list, but I did get manage to get a set list. I didn't get him to sign it. I didn't stay late. Some other details about the show, but yeah, here's your set list. So, spoiler if you've I haven't seen this year, going to the show and you haven't seen it yet. Spoiler alert! But here's your set list. Although they last year they changed the set list up. They did change the set list, I guess. They added one song in here. I think it was might have been Cleaner. Cleaner. I forget which track it was. They added um midway through the tour. So, and it's interesting. This jacket they gave me, which is a little tricky to open, is actually like a Squid Howard's, you know, jacket, which I think is really cool. Unique about this copy of a vinyl. I don't know if that many of them come with this. I don't know. Maybe it's gonna be a new thing in the future where, well, some vinyl issues are gonna come with sleeves, protective sleeves like this. Um, that that ended up having the name of the album and everything. Because yeah, I know sometimes you see this with the name on it, or I'm just thinking of the scans online have that little covering with the name. But so okay, first things first about there was an opener like back in 2024 at the Fine Line. Opener called Fear Dorian. It's a rap hip hop guy, and he had like he's like a DJ. It wasn't really a DJ. It wasn't an MC exactly. I don't know. Maybe he was. It was just two guys, and I think he's from Iowa. Could be wrong. Black dude though, but I don't know, he's a fan of Squid or something like that, but Fear Dorian. And he's not new. He's got like 3 or 4 albums. I was just looking at um uh his rate or music. Yeah, cloud rap and emo rap. So he's sort of a little bit of a crossover, but yeah, I thought he was from Iowa. Maybe not. Well, it doesn't say he's from Iowa here. My kitty cat wants to say hello. Um, but he was okay. But I mean, his a lot of his songs had similar kind of feel and textures and tones and beats, as they always say in the hip hop world. I will say the last song I really was the most catchy that he did. But he did like he probably played like he probably performed at least 9, 8, 9, 10 tracks. He announced though he said he was having a really like bad day of some kind, like maybe he got like stopped by like cop or something on the road, and also the worst the more significant thing is he said he like lost. I didn't catch all the details, but he lost a hard drive that had like 3 years worth of work on it, and toward the end of his set, someone from the club or something, maybe it was road manager or someone like that, walked up and gave him the hard drive, and he was like, yeah, all is well. This was on the 9th of May, last Friday. So then, of course, Squid. So like last year when I saw them, well, I really enjoy a lot of their music on the records. That obviously got into them that way, sort of art rock, post punk, revival, jazzy at points. And their new record is kind of more, I wouldn't call it more poppy, but it's more polished than probably the last two records. And there's not as much sort of experiments, although there's still experiments. They use like harpsichord, and they played a lot of it. They did a mixture. I mean, but they played, like Crispy Skin. Thanks, Kaji. They played Crispy Skin, the opening track. Building 650, the second track. I'm trying to think of Pro Mag, which is one of the only tracks on Cowards I'm not as crazy about, but the Hearth, which is, I think that's, yeah, Well Met, the last track. The Hearth, I think, is the new single, which a lot of people on radio music are liking more than stuff on Cowards. Um, and then they did a mixture of stuff from more stuff from O Monolith, Blades, and Undergrowth. But they did Cowards itself, and Swinging a Dream from O Monolith, GSK, Cleaner, and then Narrator, of course, from Bright Green Fields. So it was a mixture. I mean, it wasn't like too heavy on one or the other. The thing about that was similar, if not more brought up even, compared to the show last year, is that it just seems like they are a little more polished and they kind of know what they want to do live with these sort of extended improv. Like, they're not pure improvisations, but I think I'd call them kind of improvisations with the synthesizers and especially the trumpet. I mean, a lot of it is composed, like lines on the trumpet, but that the bass player, I believe it is, who switches and he plays some guitar. Oh, I mean, I think the trumpet, while it was really prominent in the last show, it was maybe more prominent this show. But man, narrator was just. I mean, it was great on the last show. It was maybe even better. I mean, Crispy Skin was big. Um, Cleaner. I almost want to go. They need to release like a live album. This band is a different animal live, and they had like different vocals. Of course, I think on the record, I'm not sure if they had a female singer on some of the new songs, but Cowards is just a fantastic composition. But I think it's got more sort of bigness even live. Well Met. I mean, yeah, they're terrific. They have this energy and this sort of large scale, which I again, I'm reminded of like that whole thing I saw Block Party. They could at a bigger venue. And probably when they played in Europe in the UK, they played bigger venues. They would be just massive, but I don't know if they end up playing like at one of these large theaters, these places like the Armory or the Fillmore, even First Avenue. I'd be a little gun shy just because of the crowd size and just the demand. I need to get a seat. So that I'll kind of slightly elaborate on that. Like I was at the Turf Club. I'm going to see the Family Crest again for the ninth time, like the third time in 3 years, like the fourth, fifth time at the Turf Club next month. I sat down. I got there like while Fear Dorian was like sound checking. I think you could hear like hip hop stuff. So we had to go downstairs in the area they have downstairs at the Turf Club, which is like a club. They had like the hockey game on and stuff. But it was like 10 or 15 minutes, and then we got in. I got a seat like I wanted to do. They have tables at the Turf Club. I wanted some kind of lumbar support, so I got the furthest table, the closest table rather, with lumbar support where I could lean up against both the little divider and the table. Especially by the time Squid went on stage, I had three or four people standing literally like 3 feet in front of me, and I was sitting down. I've been dealing with a foot toe numbness issue for a little better part of a year actually. I've been able to use some another form of lidocaine. I used to use I get the name of it now. My wife uses, but Nervive. But I'm seeing a neurologist. I'm gonna one more time, but it's not neuropathy. Anyway, I'm still bothered like driving, and like I'm wearing like slippers around the house. So at the show I just took my shoes off, which helped, and I brought a cold pack. But so that was a combination. I guess when I see the Family Crest next month, not to be on the side of the crowd for one thing, because most of the crowd's on directly in front of the stage. There can be some crowd on the other side of the bar side. But if I had been on the other side, I probably would have been fine. I did meet a nice couple who sat behind me later that in fact, one of the gentlemen, he told me, we're talking music. I was like losing my voice, telling him about like Ugly, especially, and of course Black Midi and Black Country New Road. And he's a fan of those two bands. I don't know if he said he really knew Ugly, but he mentioned a band called Dry Clean or Dry Cleaning, that I'm checking out one of their albums. Although their vocalist is a female vocalist, and she kind of does more like spoken, but the one like their biggest song I listened to the other day I kind of liked. I don't know. I'll see if Dry, and they came out around the same time Squid did, or maybe Black Midi even, but I don't know. They haven't put out a record for a few years, but they were here, I guess he was saying. But of course, Black Midi is either on hiatus or done. You have Jordy Griep, who I think was here at like First Avenue last fall, but yeah, it was a fantastic show. I mean, they're just, I would, I just only see them twice. I would put them in the same kind of category as your threes, your Mute Mass, your who's the on that list? You know, Fair to Midland, where their shows are just a different animal. I still love a lot of their studio music. I wouldn't deny that, and like I said, I think Cowards itself is, it might be their best record. Though it's kind of splitting hairs. I have a nostalgia for, even though I didn't get into it during the year, but right after the year ended, when I became a fan of Squid with Bright Green Field. But yeah, that the trumpet parts and the way they switch, they're just very I guess they're not as like, from a crowd standpoint, they're not super like having like the stage presence of some artists, but I think that kind of comes with experience and time. Like if I'm still going to see Squid 5 or 10 years from now, they'll probably be a little more riffing with the crowd. I mean, they did Oliver the drummer, of course, and that was part of it. I had the two people in front of me, and I had to like look around to be able to watch him, of course, because he's in the back, while he's singing and drumming. But he doesn't do all the lead vocals. He did most of them. But yeah, no. So definitely. I mean, I haven't gone to too many concerts. We've been to like comedy shows. Who's Live and Kumail Nanjiani. Going to be going to Family Crest, and going to be going to Stephen Wilson in September, assuming that we're not having issues with non-American acts being able to play here and stuff. Because I was a little concerned about Squid. I know that stuff with people worried about they're going to get deported, not going to be able to play here and all this stuff. With everything with the Homeland Security BS. But yeah, no, this is definitely one of the best shows I've seen. It's like last year. I don't know if it's better than the show at the Fine Line, but again, I think that they're more polished. The only other thing I'll say is that the show at the Fine Line last year, they played what I concluded was at least part of my favorite song from them, paddling. They didn't do. I thought they started to go into it a little bit, but they didn't. Because like that's the thing. You look at the set list, and it doesn't fully translate to like how extended some of these songs get, like the sort of spacey rock sections with the keyboards and um. But I what was I getting? Yeah, I mean, we're gonna go see Fluffy, maybe the comedian, and I don't know, but Squid are like just really like a can't miss band for me live, if I can. If I don't, I just need to figure out if they're at the Turf Club or whatever, the best circumstances to see them. But yeah, they've now done two shows, which pretty much had my jaw dropping. So yeah, I got the new T-shirt, of course, like that. So. But anyway, if you've seen Squid live, I'd love to hear your take. I've seen some comments on Rate Your Music that kind of echo what I'm saying, but I got some more videos to make. Hopefully, either later today or later this week. Thank you for watching, though, and we'll see you next time.